This domain is about nutrition. So, as you can imagine, with much like fitness, much like anything else, there are different frameworks that work the best for this, right? Depending on your own way that you kind of eat, you can take that, bring that to the table, and use what I'm about to show you. So, in the same way as my previous breakdown of agentic browsing, you're able to have AI dig on behalf of you. So if you come to the table with an actual, useful prompt chain, a good assembly line, you can then actually have it research on behalf of you and ideate with you, right? In a collaborative way, as you would with an intelligence, right? That could be your chef intelligence, or sous chef, or like somebody that actually enjoys food, or is a foodie, as you can say. They'll be able to give you, in terms of specific knowledge, ways to improve this system. So here's what it is. And if you're new to this, check out the description for the full playlist walking through all of this. And again, the disclosure, this isn't medical advice. This isn't nutrition advice. Please speak to a specialist about it. But in terms of what it can do for you, let's take a look. So I'm just going to reiterate again how this kind of all comes together from the agentic browsing standpoint. If you're already familiar with this, you've been following up until this point, feel free to fast forward this part if you feel like you got it and you're just looking to actually just use it. But for those that need a bit more detail, the way that we approach prompt chaining, prompt engineering, whatever you want to call it, is by being able to leverage the foresight and strategy of how things actually execute. And the more detail and specific you can get in that, the more you can return something that isn't a mess. So the process of doing that is first polishing. All right. So I have a GPT system prompt, which will be shared with you guys in the school community in the description for free. And then from there, you'll be able to understand how to take that, polish it, get an execution plan, a card that you can actually follow and like visually approve, and then actually run it. Now, again, the common disclaimer that I've been giving, this token barometer is a feature. They're still tweaking inside of the platform. I'm going to be showing you guys one that actually shows the credit usage. If you're looking to actually use this in your production and full time, highly recommend going for the $200 a month operational plan. Again, not an affiliate, but we're going to be pretty much using Fellow just for these demos. There will be extrapolated resources available as well within the school community for you guys to download automation templates and actually build it using similar workbenches. But for those that just want something off the shelf to just kind of run with and use, that's what we got here. So the way this works is we're going to go ahead and for specifically what I'm trying to do, I'm going to go ahead and I've already researched on the side. I've fed that exact system prompt with what I wanted to do, which was basically create a shopping list that I can then go approve, run through. And I had it reduced down to just 2 friendly budget meals, specifically local to me. I gave it an example of what that looks like, and I have a whole bunch of links. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, copy all of that, right? Just so you guys don't have to deal with the labor of me fleshing it all out. From there, I go ahead and I let it run. So as you can see, it's planning, making sense of it, making decisions about, well, rather planning those decisions for what it needs to do. And then from there, it's able to deploy the different layers of AI agents that would then operate the browser and also operate in terms of the actual execution. So there's the planning, there's the actual implementation that's happening all in real time. So it's a good amount of steps here. I'm pretty sure this is going to go over the token usage limit, but I'm going to go ahead, let it run just to kind of showcase the idea. Like I mentioned, some of these, well, most of them do operate best with the 2,000 free credits that it gives you. You can schedule it out over the month. I also can shorthand this by feeding it a bunch of documents about these different diets and different limitations. This is just an example, right? So with that in mind, while this is running, I'm going to continue to do the same plug. Like I said, if you guys are already just kind of looking at this, seeing for what it can do, feel free to skip ahead. So with agentic browsers, one thing I've seen that's commonplace is hands-off and being able to trust that hands-off human in the loop. If you're familiar with the kind of theory that I've shared here before, you'll know that like in order for systems to really work well, especially in production, that needs to be taken into account, right? There's no such thing as a full production, no actual hand or human in the loop. So with that in mind, you can see it digging. It's important to, like, I gave it as many, websites and things that needed it to access. Um, Giving it the ability to rationale and make sense of things is really cool. There's a whole movement, which I think is worth speaking about, called this like right to repair movement, which for some you probably heard about it mostly within the phone space. Um, it's an interesting movement, especially in the world of AI, because when we speak about open source and accessibility, um, there's examples, for example, like when it comes to ownership. Like before, when you bought a book, you get to own that book for a lifetime. Now, lifetime is as long as the streaming agreement is in place, meaning like you can buy Kindle books and like, or even what do you call it? Like limited edition, like thinking of examples. Like back in the day when you would get a Blu-ray, for example, right? And it'd be out for a specific season. The equivalent to that now is like you get things during a drop and you get it at a discount, which is like not terrible. The whole premise of the activist movement behind it is basically to give people more power when things are being commercially taken from them. And it just goes on and on. I've been basically wrapping my head around that, especially when it comes to AI. Because most people see it as an ocean. Most people see it as something that's actually decently overt. So, here's simplifying it. So you'll see that I kind of jumped in with a few questions to make sure it wasn't, just running and just drinking up the credits. You can just let it run again if you have the upgraded plan, but for sake of the free credits, I highly, highly recommend working alongside it. Don't just trust it to run autonomously, because you can speed it up. If you tell it here, go here instead of there, and just actually work with it, you can get places faster. So here it's actually deploying a deep search piece and then also actually calculating the macros and whatnot. So I'm going to let it run for a bit, but I'm going to keep an eye on it just to make sure I get the demo underneath the credit amount. And then from there to, again, like, here's one of the caveats with free accounts while this runs here. You can make multiple free accounts. Those are nearly infinite. It just requires a bit of more work to set up a Google account. That's it. Or just pay. That's the two options. All right, so instead of letting it run, basically here's what it looks like. It went ahead, created a cart for me, right? So I just got to go over it, basically approve it. Looks like it was following along on the recipes I asked for, a bunch of different options as well. I'm sure if I gave it a budget, it would have done more extensive thinking, more long-term running, but you kind of see the idea of what's happening here. So that's just another example of how this sort of agentic browsing can change things. It's worth mentioning many alternative ways exist in terms of automating and having AI do these things on behalf of you. But here's just a simple way to do it with language and pretty much running 24/7 or whenever you'd like.